well, I suppose at some point I had to come to terms with that. So it wasn't straightforward
Mm-hmm.
initially. You know, I had to learn to break news to people that there was nothing else available and things were likely to get worse, right? Or whatever words I may have used for that scenario, right? There is such a scenario where there's no useful treatment at that point, either because someone's not fit enough to receive it or there just isn't another known treatment option.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, at that point, you don't just disappear as a doctor. You're there to navigate that with someone. And I, you know, initially I was kind of crushed by the weightiness of having that conversation with someone, you
Yeah.
know. And then early on, as a first year specialist trainee, there was a lung cancer patient who, you know, was now in a wheelchair, and you know, she was not fit enough for further chemotherapy, which had a more chance of making her worse than better in a hurry, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I said to her, I'm so sorry, we can't do anything more useful to combat the cancer. Now, if I was having that conversation with someone these days, I may say completely different words, right? But she leant over, put her hand on my shoulder and said, it must be so hard for you. That's what she said. She was in her 60s and I was in my early 30s. And she was, in that conversation, concerned for my well-being, having to break that news to her. Incredible.
It is, right?
You know, yeah. And I had to walk away from that. She really made a difference to me because I really walked away with that people don't expect you to be anything more than human. I shifted my expectations from I need to survive this difficult conversation to, you know, providing whatever they needed me to provide them and being with whatever I need to be with them. So that wasn't easy to start with, even then, right?
Yeah.
As a trainee,
Yeah.
although I would always see the next patient in line because that was how I approached my practice. I would take the next patient. I didn't choose. The next person who was to be seen was the person I saw, right? But I would really, really be stressed out when I had to see people where the news was bad, you know? Because initially it is very stressful to be with. It's just like, oh, gee, like you don't know how people are going to react, but people you have to work to have people burden you as a doctor, in my experience, incredibly. You have to work for people who will not burden you. They won't burden anyone. People, in my experience, don't want to burden anyone with anything, even their own death, incredibly.
Yeah. True.
So it's interestingly, I was very rarely left devastated by my patients' bad news because they didn't leave me with it. They were just great with me and appreciative. It's incredible, you know, that people don't leave you with, they don't shoot the messenger in reality.